Constance, it's great to be here and talking to you.
Well, thanks.
And reminiscing about the past, in the sense of how it has brought you to where you are now. And here you are, a St. Louis sister living in Belfast. So tell me, how long are you in Belfast now?
I must be well over 30 years in Belfast, because I spent some time in England training in Newman College, and then after I got an honours degree in Newman College in education, and after that I came back to St. Genevieve's and to Louisville, and I was subbing for a good while in St. Genevieve's High School. And then, thanks to Uainín Clarke, I got the job as welfare officer, and I was there for 10 very happy years, and I absolutely loved it.
And tell me, Constance, what did that involve?
I was employed by the Belfast Education and Library Board, and I was responsible for the welfare of the pupils. And then also when the computers had started to come in and the roles went on computers, and I was in charge of seeing to it every day and every week that they all went through the computer.
Okay.
All sheets were on the computer, and all programs were on the computer.
Great, so you enjoyed that?
I loved that job, loved the staff at St. Genevieve's, and now they're celebrating 50 years, and I'm also very much part of that.
That's great.
And I was up at prize giving, and next Wednesday I'm invited to the operetta Annie, which they're doing to celebrate the 50th. They're also having a gala ball in June in the City Hall for everyone.
Great. And so, Constance, tell me, like, over the 30 plus years that you've been in Belfast, you've seen many, many changes.
Yes.
You've seen many changes probably in the whole context in the city and in life for the people, and you've also seen a lot of changes in St. Louis.
Yes.
So, how is that for you? How have you adjusted? What's been good?
Well, I think it was marvellous, the change that came. It just came in time, and I realised after a while we were very cut off in Louisville from the people, and when we came down to these houses, the people appreciated us far more, and they respected us maybe much more than Southern Ireland. And there's a great community here. Riverdale would be a poorer area than some of the other areas, and because of that I think they have a stronger community sense, you know. I think that's what saved them during the real troubles, was the community spirit that they had among themselves and the extended families, and we got to know them all. They're very good.
So you're still, tell me about what you're out and about these days, Constance. You were saying there's a parish ministry or a street ministry.
Oh yeah, very much a street ministry where a lot of people, say on my little avenue here, I think only one house would go to church. But they appreciate me being here very much, and if there's any crisis or anything, they would come here. And we've got to call it the street ministry, which is ongoing. And a lot of people in other houses, like maybe down south, wouldn't be aware of a street ministry because we're so close to the people. Also, I'm working with the diocese doing the sorting of the hosts in the Adoration Convent in the Falls Road, And I feel that's a great privilege. And not only are they doing the altar breads now for the diocese, but the Carmelites in Uri, Rostrevor stopped doing them there last May. So they're also doing the hosts for Clogher, Armagh and Drummoor diocese. So I feel that's a great privilege. A lot of volunteers do it as well.
And Constance, when you say the sorting of the hosts, are you saying like that this church needs that many and that church needs that? What does it mean, the sorting of the hosts?
Oh, well, there's a bakery for the hosts, and there are men that work there, so we're not in the bakery. And then the hosts go through different machines, and they come into this area that's known as the sorting area. And all those hosts must be perfect going out to diocese or to the church. So we sort them and check every one of them. And then there are people who are known as the dispatchers, and they have it's electronic scales. They don't have to be counted around. They just weigh them, and you know from the box that 5,000 hosts is going to fit in there. So that's the way it's done. And then the hosts go out each month to the diocese. Anyone who wants them in the meantime, they can phone in and get them.
And that's you mentioned, is that a voluntary work?
But that's voluntary, yeah.
And lots of people some people are doing it. So
it's quite a few sorters.
Yeah, so it's another group.
It's another group, and for me it was another whole social thing, because I met a whole group of people after retiring that I didn't know. So we also have a cup of tea and a chat during it. And there's very strict rules about you have to wear a white coat and hat at all times, and you can't have any perfume or anything like that in case it would go on to the hosts.
Great. The sisters in Nigeria will be very interested in that, because they have the altar breads ministry as well. Some of them are involved in that. They actually make the hosts and all of the rest.
Do they?
Yeah, they have their ovens and that. So that's very interesting.
One day got a tour of the bakery, and that was very interesting. And it's a very, very old machine, you know, so they're hoping nothing will happen. It's from Germany, and I don't think there's another machine anywhere.
Right.
But at the moment they don't. It's the only place now left in Ireland that there's no preservatives in the hosts.
Right.
The hosts here have no preservatives, so they're trying to keep that as long as they can before it may be taken over by a factory or something.
So, Constance, when you think of St. Louis and where it is now, in the sense of the stage of development or the stage of history that it's at, where there are certain areas that are older and maybe coming to the end of their time, and then there are certain areas that are newer and there are younger people there. How's that for you?
Well, it's sometimes, Uainín, I think myself, from my personal opinion, that they're closing down Ireland too soon. I get that feeling any time I go to a meeting.
Okay.
That and they forget that there's a lot of life, and there's a lot of good few sisters after me that are very full of life. And I think they're closing it down too soon, you know. I know that eventually it will die out, but I think they're doing it too soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Constance, if you were asked to give words of wisdom to younger St. Louis sisters, what would you say to them? What would be your...
Well, I think, you know, that it had, I think they would have a marvellous life with St. Louis.
Mhm.
It has always been an educational order, and I found that everyone in St. Louis was well educated,
Mhm.
and I think anyone who would join would have a great opportunity. Also a great prayer life to get nearer to the Lord.
Mhm. Mhm. Great. Okay. Thanks, Constance. That's great. Thank you. So, Constance, I remember at one stage you were saying to me, you mentioned to me that during the Troubles that you took to writing some letters. So, tell us about some of the more interesting ones.
Oh yes, well it was in 1999 and the peace process here was very, very shaky and it was beginning to break up. And I sat down one day and I wrote to Bill Clinton, Bertie Ahern, who was the Prime Minister at the time, and Tony Blair was the Prime Minister in England. And I wrote to the three of them, asking them not to give up. And I also said that all the sisters, St. Louis sisters here in Belfast were praying for them and that they would be guided in whatever they did. And I got a letter back from all of them. And
All three of them?
All three of them, yes. And I was especially taken by the one from Bill Clinton because the seal of the bald eagle is on it, and that letter can't be photocopied in any way.
Amazing. And what have you kept those letters, Constance?
I've kept those letters, and I hope eventually that they will maybe go to the archives. So I must see about that.
Yeah. So well done on doing that. That was that was an inspired thing to do, and I'm sure gave the men in their own way courage to keep going.
I think so, yeah.
Great. So, Constance, tell us about your gardening. You were ahead of everybody in the sense of care of the earth and all of that.
Yeah, well, in the first year I was here with Margaret Ann. And Margaret Ann and myself got on very well, and she had a keen interest in gardening. And the front of the garden was just vacant, and we didn't know what to do with it. They'd put poison down in some areas, and nothing had grown for over a year. And Margaret Ann said the best thing was to get shrubs. So we went out one day to a garden centre and bought the shrubs, 2 red robins and all the ones at the far side, and they have thrived ever since. And Margaret Ann loved the garden. And the second year we were here, we got a prize for the best garden.
I remember that, yeah.
But we never received the plaque. And then Sister Lucy came, and she loved the garden as well. So I still love it myself.